All right, let's talk about foldable phones. They promise to be a phone and a tablet all in one, right? But they've always had this one massive catch. Well, some new leaks are suggesting that Google is about to fix the single biggest problem that's been holding them back. So let's get into it.
Okay, I want you to look at this number, 68%. Now, if you've ever owned a foldable phone or maybe even just held one for a few minutes, you probably have a pretty good guess what this number is all about. It's a huge majority.
And yep, there it is. More than 2/3 of the people who actually own these things say they're just too big and too heavy. This is the central complaint, the one thing that has stopped foldables from really truly going mainstream. I mean, who cares about the magic of a giant screen if it feels like you're carrying a brick in your pocket all day? So that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? Is this just part of the deal, a fatal flaw that's baked into the whole idea of a folding phone? Or is this a problem that some really clever engineering can finally solve?
To really get how Google is planning to fix this, we gotta back up a second and understand why the problem even exists. You see, if you bought a foldable early on, you had to accept a whole bunch of compromises.
And here are the three big ones. First up, thermal throttling. The chips inside just couldn't handle powering two massive screens without getting super hot and slowing everything down. Then you've got the hinge, the mechanical heart of the phone, which was basically a magnet for dust and dirt that could kill the screen. And finally, you had to live with the worst camera, because trying to cram top-tier camera sensors into a thin, folding phone was a huge challenge. And that brings us to the leaks about Google's next big shot at this, a device with a really interesting code name. This, right here, is where the story starts to get good.
You know, what's so telling is the confusion around the name itself. We're hearing Pixel Fold 3, we're hearing Pixel 11 Pro Fold, and then internally, they're just calling it Yogi. This tells me Google isn't just tweaking the hardware, they're rethinking the phone's entire identity, probably pushing it to be a main part of their Pro phone lineup.
And this timeline just lays out Google's mission perfectly. The first Fold back in 2023 was, let's be honest, a chunky device. The 2024 model got a lot better. But Yogi, which looks to be coming in 2026, is where it all comes together. They're aiming to make it one of the absolute thinnest foldables out there. So how are they going to pull that off? I mean, how do you make a phone thinner, lighter, and more powerful all at the same time? Well, the answer starts deep inside the phone, with the processor itself. It all boils down to this thing called the 2-nanometer process. Now, don't let the technical jargon scare you. All you really need to know is that it's a new way of making computer chips where all the little components are insanely small. And when they get smaller, they get faster, and, this is the key part, way more power efficient.
So here's what that actually means for using the phone. The leaks say Google is switching to a new manufacturer, TSMC, for their new Tensor G6 chip. Compared to the old chips, this new 2-nanometer design runs cooler, sips battery, and can power that giant 8-inch screen inside without breaking a sweat. Just this one change solves that huge overheating problem we talked about.
But, you know, the chip is only one piece of the puzzle. To make the actual phone thinner and tougher, Google had to completely rethink how it was built from the ground up.
That all starts with the hinge. The leaks are pointing to this new floating rail design. I know, it sounds complicated, but think of it this way. It just creates a tiny pocket for the screen to fold into, which prevents pressure and creasing. You combine that with a new seal all the way around the edge to keep dust out, and you get a hinge that's tougher and just feels better balanced in your hand. And hey, remember that other big compromise, the camera? Well, that iconic Pixel camera bar, that visor, it was heavy, and it made the phone wobble when you put it on a table. The Yogi design just gets rid of it completely, switching to separate little camera islands. This isn't just about looks, it's a smart move to shed weight and make the phone more stable. But what's really exciting is that this new design lets them finally put a real, no-compromises, flagship camera system in there. We're talking a high-res main sensor, some crazy machine learning zoom, and slick video features. You don't have to choose between a big screen and a great camera anymore. Plus, they've got the next-gen Titan security chip in there to keep your stuff safe on both screens.
And get this, they're even fixing another one of those long-running Pixel complaints. The leaks say a new modem from MediaTek is going in, specifically to improve 5G and fix those random connectivity problems some Pixel owners have had. It's like they're going down a checklist and fixing everything.
So after fixing all that stuff, how does this Yogi phone stack up against its biggest competitor in the world of foldables?
This is where you see a huge difference in how Google and Samsung think about these phones. Google has always gone for a wide, usable outer screen that feels like, well, a normal compact phone. You can easily shoot off a text without ever opening it up, Samsung, though, they use that tall, skinny, remote control style screen that's just awkward for typing, pretty much forcing you to open the device for anything serious. Of course, all this new tech, that new chip, the slick hinge, the flagship cameras, it's not going to be cheap. We're still looking at a price that's very much in that premium territory, probably starting at or even a little above $1,800.
And so that leaves us with one last massive question. With the technology finally catching up to the big idea, and with all these major compromises finally getting fixed, could 2026 be the year that a phone like Yogi finally pushes foldables out of that little niche category and into the hands of everyday people? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Thanks for joining me.